everything to our dear listeners. It's wonderful to have you here today. I welcome you to another episode of Farming Farmers Farms FFF Podcast. This program is designed to educate, inform, and enlighten you on various topics on agriculture. So whether you're a small-scale farmer, a commercial agriculturist, or someone passionate about agriculture and food production, this podcast is for you. It provides valuable knowledge to help you grow. You must be wondering what FFF is all about. Let me tell you. FFF is a specialized online newspaper with focus on agriculture and environment. It is published by FFF Publications and Services Company Limited and located in Ibadan, Oyo State, Nigeria. Our core values are editorial independence, fairness, and integrity. FFF is a recipient of a number of grants, such as the Nigeria Media Innovation Program, NAMID, which is implemented by the Media Development Investment Fund. Affiliated to the MacArthur Foundation, United States of America, among others. We maintain high and viral audience reach through our website and social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, X, and of course, podcast communications. In this edition, we will be examining farmers' health. Yes, farmers' health. It's a crucial yet often overlooked topic. And as the backbone of our food systems, farmers face unique health challenges that deserve attention and proactive solutions. Don't you agree with me on that? So join us as we explore key health concerns, preventive measures, and wellness strategies to ensure a healthier, more resilient farming community. Thank you for joining us.
A very good day to you, all listeners. I want to discuss farmers' health issues. I'm sure you agree with me that our farmers are the men and women who take a lot of time and energy gathering materials to be planted, clearing and tilling the soils, weeding them, sometimes preparing them with use of some chemicals like fertilizers and herbicides. Subsequently plant those materials and they nurture them to fruition. Thereafter, the processing takes place, harvesting and processing, and then the rest is how it gets to us for consumption. So know that this category of people are very, very, very important to our well-being, whether health-wise, economically. But they also face some challenges as human beings that are involved in these food chain processes. Today, we are going to focus on farmers' health issues. Now, usually, like I discussed earlier, most of them will revolve around their occupation. In other words, we are really making it's a form of occupational health here. Now, the areas to look at will involve one, their physical health. Then, of course, there's also the chemical and the toxin issues, which revolves around what they use to either prevent pests or weeds and all that. Then, of course, don't forget they are just like any other human being. They also have the general medical conditions that anybody could have, be they young or old people. But we know the environment plays a lot of impact on this with the climate changes all over the place. And let's take the physical health. When we talk about physical health, you talk about how these men and women get involved in masculine, quite active activities that they involve a lot of energy while doing their work, or some measure of energy. So you can have the muscle and the joint movement, which is being utilized during the tilling, cutting, and planting, so they can develop musculoskeletal discomfort, be the pain, joint ache. Some even have low back ache when they lift heavy loads, arthritis, and joint pains, muscle weakness, tenderness, sometimes even pain. So that's one aspect of physical health. Of course, because they work in an environment where there are a lot of dust, pollen, and sometimes even chemicals, so they can have respiratory problems. So after the musculoskeletal, you can have some respiratory problem, which has to do with what they breathe into their lungs. So they can inhale dust, fumes, and pollens from even the plants there, and it even dust from the grains that are being used. These are the sources of those materials. Though it's irritant that gets into their lungs, so they can come out with various things like allergy, things like infection of the lung, we call bronchitis and all. They can even come with asthma, or can worsen those who have allergy like asthma. So those grains and fumes can actually make things worse for them. So they need to be guided on putting on maybe materials to face mask and stuff like that to prevent those inhalation. Because again, during physical activity which is done in the open in most cases, except for the greenhouse plantation now, most things are done in the open. So they have a lot of exposure of the body to the environment, which is where the skin that covers the entire body suffers a great deal, no doubt. And then one from the heat of the sun, which can cause water loss, dehydration, and it can worsen some of those who have background medical conditions. Most importantly, actually, that's what is called the ultraviolet light that is emitted from the sunlight. When its exposure gets a little bit intense, it could lead to so much wrinkling, damage to the skin, and sometimes cancers actually. Particularly those who have poor pigmentation of their skin, who lack the pigment called melanin that make our skin black. Okay, of course, the eyes is not spared of this; it's also exposed. You can have dryness of the eyes, which can cause eye damage. So allergies, some of them, the eye react to it. Now, so that is for physical. But again, the exposure for the heat I told you could cause electrolyte and water loss. Now let's look at the physical is not complete. In some climes, they are cold. Out of the heat we have here, you can have sometimes it can be very cold, and in those climates you can have cold exposure of the body to cold. Have its own consequences. It can get you jittery, can get you weak and tired, and of course those are the concerns around that. So I leave the physical health now. I will take the mental health. Of course, the mental health a lot has to do with words and how your brain handles so much for you. I must stress here that stress and fatigue are pretty common in farmers, particularly when they have to meet targets and all that. So you cannot leave out stress. But the most important thing about stress is how to manage. So if you have to space your activity, do space them so that you don't get honestly stressed. Or if you need to ask for assistance, then get some. Apart from stress and fatigue under mental health, you also have depression, which stems from working so long in an environment where you are left alone, maybe in a big wide expanse of land, tilling and supervising the growth of your plants, or even weeding, or using chemicals, or even fertilizers, all within a very large expanse of land. It can lead to a bit of isolation, and then sometimes people could get depressed. In worst scenario, which I think is when this gets too much, you can get depression can actually lead to suicide. And let's look at the chemicals and the toxins. So use pesticides, herbicides are used to control those weeds and all that to encourage yield. And to make it better, they also use fertilizers sometimes to actually all aim at improving yield. But you agree with me, all these are chemicals, which sometimes when they get in contact with your skin, with your eye, with your body, with your inhale them could have health consequences. So I get say you need to wear a mask most times. And then, like I mentioned again, the general medical condition will still remain. They are first and foremost human being, like any one of us. So they have different ranges of medical conditions that are common in different age groups. And in their own case, because of their own exposure, because they work on land, they can have trauma, they can puncture their feet, have injuries which can lead to tetanus, infection, sepsis. We can be worse in those who have not some other medical conditions like diabetes. So they need to be careful when they have such injuries to report quickly to hospital. Apart from that, they can fall, injure themselves. So they may have fractures, lifting heavy materials. They can develop cramps and pains and all that. Yeah, those are possibilities. And of course, some of them actually have their own normal hypertension, diabetes with age. Some people have some other arthritis and all that, which could affect their work. Of course, the younger farmers, we have the younger issues like infections and all that, and trauma. So, these are some of the things that they are encountered by farmers doing their work. So, we do a fast one to say that physical health around the musculoskeletal issues, respiration, skin, eye, and then of course heat exposure in the open, extremes of temperatures of heat and cold sometimes. And then we spoke about the mental health, where we talk about stress, fatigue, and the chemical toxins, pesticide, herbicide, and all that, including fertilizers, and then of course the general condition that they are in them. Okay, so we move on to talk about how then do we manage these conditions. I think the first thing to do is actually education. Education is very important. A would-be farmer should be granted a basic education, but I know this is not the things it's not commonplace here. But I think we should start addressing that so that those who work on the farm will get a bit of education so that they can look after themselves. Now, there's a very simple one of making sure you wear personal protective equipment, the so-called PPE. Could be the hand gloves, it could be their face masks, sometimes to prevent inhalation. The hand glove could prevent damage to their hands and all that, and they wear their boots so that they don't get pierced by sharp metals or even get pierced by not just pierced, the accompanying possible infection like tetanus could be avoided by wearing thick boots and all that. And then to avoid snake bites, so the boots should be a little bit high up and they should be alert to attend to that. Even where there is a bite you are not sure, please report to facility so that they can see and separate those who are likely to be toxins while you are being served. Okay, so if you have any bite at all, whether you are not too sure, please report to facility so that you can put you under observation during the critical periods. Then what you call relaxation technique, where you are tense or you are worried, you are so pushed together that you feel stressed, and then fatigue. You can sit back a little, take a deep breath. Deep breath, and then deep one, and then relax. Take a deep breath, and then relax. Those methods sometimes are enough to calm you and get you to reset yourself. They are very useful. They are called relaxation techniques. They rely so much on breathing exercises. Now, safety practices are supposed to be taught in terms of storage of chemicals that are toxic and how to handle them. I told you about wearing hand gloves so that it prevents spillage. Sometimes you have to wear entire protective materials on the skin so that you don't get in contact with when you are spraying your chemicals or herbicide, or even when you are cracking noise or machineries are making so much noise, they could not affect your hearing, audition, and all that. You might sometimes need to plug your ear when the machines are making so much noise. Of course, community support is very important, and share information sometimes could be enough to distress a tensed and overworked health farmer. So in all, I think it's time to integrate farmers' health into farmers in anything agriculture. In actually there's a course called agro-medicine. In agro-medicine, you see, you should integrate medicine into the process of farming and to look after our people for the better yield and good health. Thank you very much. My name is Olusola Talabi, a consultant physician and internal medicine neurologist. Thank you.
That's our package on farmers' health. I believe you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Thank you for staying with us. We would love to hear from you. Please do well to share your feedbacks by reaching us directly with your questions, inquiries, and comments through the email address farmingfarmersfarm@gmail.com or call any of these lines 080 577 90229 or 080 394 02794. You can also send your WhatsApp or text message to 080 370 78873. Do not forget to follow us, reshare this post, and tag us on Facebook, Farming Farmers Farms, Instagram at Farming Farmers Farms, LinkedIn, Farming Farmers, on X handle at Farming Farms F, and on our website www.farmingfarmersfarms.com. Our deep appreciation to Dr. Olusola Talabi, consultant physician, neurologist, and epileptologist. I am Mary Vincent, and it's bye for now. FFF, to empower and live well.